Alright, so this is my first official vlog. I had made one. I'm still trying to mess with all the settings. I had made one before my last surgery, which was, it'll be a month Wednesday. And today is Monday, April the 7th, 2014. And I'm doing this for several reasons. One was because one of my endo sisters, that's what we call each other if we have endometriosis, because they are strong and amazing, and without them I wouldn't, honestly I don't know if I'd be here. I know that sounds cheesy and whatever, but it's the truth. Anyways, she's awesome, and she actually marched at the first annual Million Women's March in Washington, D.C. In March. I actually wanted to go, but I couldn't because I was having my surgery. But anyway, she marched in DC and had a poster, and she actually had my name on the poster, which just made my heart smile. But she has a YouTube, and she had posted some videos. Sorry while I get this looking semi-normal. I'm in my bed because I sold my couch and my recliner and a lot of my furniture to make the last surgery happen, which is kind of a bummer. But I do have a hammock now in my living room, but it's kind of hard to probably film some things while I'm in my bed. But I'm not sick, which is good because, you know, I'm so used to being in my bed sick. It's kind of a foreign feeling, actually. I'm still kind of getting used to it. But it's definitely a welcomed, long overdue feeling. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'm not really good at keeping my mind focused. I kind of have ADD and lose track of what I'm trying to say. But anyways, I should probably have an outline and a thought about that before I even started this. But I thought it would just maybe be more authentic and more raw if I just spoke from my heart. My ADD heart. But I borrowed one of my friend's computer's laptops because my laptop fried, the motherboard fried, so it's a little harder to do this on a Kindle or an iPhone, so this is really nice to have this. And I've been job searching, so it's easier to apply for jobs on a laptop versus my little bitty iPhone, which is how I update my Instagram. Anyways, most of y'all probably know me from Instagram. That's where that's really honestly what got me through what I'm about to kind of dive into, my story and my journey with endometriosis. Instagram, I had joined way back when, I think in 2009, 2010 when it first came out, and would just post here and there. And now I do the whole photo a day thing, and it's very therapeutic because I'm very into photography and always have been. I took courses in high school and courses in college, and anyways, I don't have a nice camera, but I do have the iPhone. I try not to use filters that much. Anyways, see, I'm rambling. This is what I do. But this is new for me. But I figured this would be basically, before I begin, just a good way to kind of document my journey and also just to see where I am physically. I had made a video on my iPhone and had to delete it due to space because I take a million screenshots of people that I need to reply to and email to. So if I haven't emailed you back or replied to comment, it's not personal. It's just I do talk with my hands too. It's not personal. I will get back to you. I just replied to about 6 on Facebook. I'm way behind on Instagram. I have over 900 pictures on my camera roll, and half of them are screenshots of inspirational quotes and pictures of unicorns and stuff, but I will get back to you. As I was saying, because I got sidetracked again, is I had made a video before my last surgery, but because I kind of wanted to see, you know, what I looked like physically then and kind of compare it to now after my surgery and post-op, and it is definitely a world of difference just from me remembering what it looked like. Let me change this because it's kind of annoying. Okay, that's my music in the background. But anyways, I had to delete it to make more space on my iPhone. I need to back it up again. I have to back it up all the time, my photos and videos and everything. But anyways, so I guess we'll just see what it look like from here to when I can actually start my pelvic PT, and start jogging again. I want to start paleo diet when I have enough funds to, buy organically. If anyone has any ideas or tips how to go to the grocery store and spend less money on organic food, that would be great. I've always eaten healthy, but I would love to just eat, I guess, cleaner, to just help with my recovery process, because I'm determined that this last surgery, which was my seventh, was my final and last surgery. Anyways, I guess I'll just dive right in with how I was. Let me turn this down so I can focus. My ADD. I've never been diagnosed with ADD, so it's always just like a joke. But I think it's gotten worse with age. I'll be 30 next month, which sounds so much older than 20-something. I'm still kind of trying to come to grips with that. It feels like these past 2.5, well, almost 3 years actually, have just flown by, because it's just been one surgery after the other. I had 6 surgeries in 10 months' time, and then I had a little over like a year and 2 months between my 6th surgery and my 7th surgery. But I thought I would just dive in. I've had many women ask me, as you know, on my Instagram, I try to raise awareness for endometriosis. I kind of use it as a platform to share my emotions. As I said, it's great therapy for me to kind of use one of my passions, photography, and kind of also just couple it with kind of therapy for me and healing, posting about private thoughts that I've had, and that I just kind of put out there for the world. And it's vulnerable. It's not easy. It gets easier with time, but I think I just do it honestly just to help other women with endometriosis who feel alone. It's a very, very isolating disease, and you often feel alone. And it's a very misunderstood and kind of taboo disease. It's thankfully becoming more talked about, more open, and more accepted. And hopefully within my generation and future generations, it'll just become more and more. And I hope with each day, it'll just become, more talked about and more understood. But rambling again, I really should have done an outline. But I also laugh a lot, and sorry for my southern accent. I'm trying to work on it. I really do have a southern accent. I live in Alabama. So I was born in Tupelo, Mississippi, and lived in Jacksonville, Florida for about 2 years, and then moved to Birmingham, Alabama when I was 5, and I still live here. So anyways, that's that. But as I was saying, Instagram is what I kind of use for my therapy, and also I think it helps other women. I've gotten messages and great feedback that they are thankful that someone else feels those things and that they're not alone. And it just kind of helps to hear that someone else is going through that, and they're not the only ones going through that. So that's kind of why I do it, because I believe I feel kind of like I can't do much right now in my situation. I'm recovering, I'm healing, job searching. So I feel like I'm a very strong believer in doing what you can where you are with what you have. It's a quote that I love. I'm a sap for a good quote. But that and it is what it is are the 2 quotes that have gotten me through a lot of this. But anyways, rambling again. But I'm a big believer in just kind of helping how you can where you are with what you have. And so that's what I'm kind of trying to do. And real quick, going back to what I had said earlier, there is an endo sister, Fiona Jane, who one night before my last surgery, it was like a week, or I think it was 4 or 5 days before my surgery, I was in an Epsom salt bath, which if you have endometriosis or any of the other pelvic diseases that it loves to tag along with it, you know that Epsom salts are amazing, and they will help immensely with the pain, the backaches, and the cramps. But anyways, I actually discovered Epsom salt baths from my old boss, who was very holistic, and from my favorite job, my old job that I lost through all this, but it's okay. That's actually how I got the quote, "It is what it is." My old boss used to say that. But Rambling tangent number 466. Um, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. I was in an Epsom salt bath, and I have this bad habit of taking my iPhone with me and just sitting in there for, an hour. I've been known to take a 2-hour bath. I'll just keep putting more hot water in, emptying it, and refilling. But I came upon her. I was just looking. I usually search for the hashtag endometriosis to just kind of see what's going on and see how many women are suffering, or anyone that needs help, or anyone that's about to have surgery that might have any questions. I have an amazing what to pack list for surgery that I made after my 5th or 6th surgery, I forget. But you just kind of get the hang of the whole thing, the whole bowel prep, the whole traveling, staying overnight in the surgery, in the hospital, and kind of what you need to feel your best, and just to kind of make a very bad situation a little bit easier. I always say the little things go a long way, the little things help. And it's just a list of little things. But anyways, if you want that, shoot me an email and I will forward that to you. My email is kate.english28@gmail. Anyways, I'm new to this. I've seen a lot of people in their YouTube videos say, I'll put it down here. So maybe I'll look into that. I can figure it out. I have a degree in IT. I'll put it down there. I'll put my email down there. Anyways, I was taking a bath and I had read or seen on her Instagram that she actually vlogs about her endometriosis journey on YouTube. And so I went and watched I think like a video and a half. And one video I watched, it was like watching myself, every emotion that she felt and talked about, I had felt, and every thought she said, I had thought, and I could relate. And she was bawling in the video, and I just started bawling uncontrollably, and it just really touched me, and it made me realize that maybe I should do this so that I just think it's easier than reading my story. I have shared my story with probably hundreds, maybe close to thousands now, and I don't mind doing it. I love doing it. I just thought this might make it easier, and also just for therapy for me to work through this. It's definitely a process. It's definitely grieving. I think having endometriosis, period, is hard. I mean, accepting a chronic illness is hard with no cure, and really no cure in sight. Hopefully, we have to be positive, and we have to think that someone's out there listening to us and willing to, fund research and fund just something, anything. I think we need a stronger voice, but that's a different tangent. But I guess I'll just dive right in. I just thought it would be easier to do it this way, and also maybe you could see my emotions and connect with them better than just kind of reading typed words. I'm new at this, so excuse me. But I am 29 years old. I will be 30 actually in a month and 2 days. May 9th, I'll be 30. But I was diagnosed when I was 27 years old. I was diagnosed, it was actually March, I think the 3rd, March the 2nd or 3rd, March 2nd, I think, March 2nd of 2012. I had always had really painful periods, and I was always told that it was normal, that, it's just some women's lot in life, and it just is what it is. It's the cards they're dealt. So I always just, dealt with it and did what I needed to do. That was just part of it, actually. I think with endometriosis, there are several factors and several red flags. I wish that my doctors had caught it earlier, but I can't blame them. I try not to harbor anger, hurt feelings towards them. I do have some for my OBGYN, but for good reason. I always had urinary tract infections, which are UTIs, also known as UTIs. And it's basically when you have blood in your urine. And I remember getting them, they were bladder infections back when I was 5. I don't know I think it's the same thing, but maybe they just called it bladder infections because I hadn't started my cycle Yep. But I remember getting bladder infections back to 5 years old. So, again, my primary care physician just said some women are just more prone to getting urinary tract infections, and maybe this is just something you're going to have to deal with. And so I accepted that, and I would do what was needed every month. I would get them monthly. It was very rare if I went 2 months without one. Sometimes I would get 2 within 1 month, but it would just be very painful, and I could just tell when I would have it. Anyways, so that was another factor, was I always had blood in my urine. Not always, but every time I went to the doctor to, pee in the cup, to do the culture. So I would go to the doctor, I would get a Z-Pack. Eventually my body became kind of immune or whatever. It kind of became used to the antibiotic. So I think I started trying Zipro, and I would take that. I think it's like Zipro Max or something, but I would always just go to the doctor. It would be the same thing, pee in a cup, there'd be urine. He would give me an antibiotic. I would take it, go back to work, get those lovely cranberry pills, those azo pills, those lifesavers, and cranberry juice, and knock it out. Avoid baths. I was always told when I first started getting them, the whole spiel of, don't take baths, and if you work out, which I did, change clothes, don't stay in your clothes, So I did all those things. I stopped taking baths. I love baths, love, 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 love. But I remember doing that and still getting them, and being very frustrated. But it never really interfered with my life. I mean, yeah, I would have to go to the doctor. Yeah, it was a $35 copay, then the antibiotic. And, antibiotics aren't, I don't think, very great to take monthly or bi-monthly or whatever. But it is what it is. And I was told it was my lot and my path in life. And I was just supposed to accept it. And so I did. I was referred to a urologist. A lot of women asked me that. Okay, were you referred to one? And I was. And I did all the testing, the contrast and that weird feeling. And it came back normal. Everything came back normal. And I've actually been to the urologist twice. And so I thought maybe they missed something. And so I felt like I was examined very thoroughly and just kind of given the truth. And I accepted it and dealt with it. So that was just part of my issues. My other issues were around 25, I started noticing back pain. And yeah, I think it was around 25. And it was really bad. It was like a dull, achy, constant, sometimes stabbing back pain. And I noticed that it would kind of correlate with my period. Also, my periods started to become heavier and more painful and more crampier. And by the way, I don't have any dignity or any filter, and so I don't even know if they're going to take this off YouTube. But I would always have really bad clots, like heavy, heavy clots that were actually scary because they were very heavy. In the end, I was anemic and had to take iron meds. But anyways, at 25, I started having the backache, which is a huge symptom of endometriosis. And I think this is crooked. Here we go. It's a huge symptom of endometriosis. But I started having that. Let me fix this again. Okay. I have to have music in the background somewhere. Okay. So yeah, I started having that, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, okay, I was a nanny, and so I must have been lifting too much, lifting the children, bending down too much. I'm getting older. I'm 25, blah, blah, blah. Always had an excuse. Well, around age 26, 27, actually I think it was 27, I, without a doctor telling me or anyone, referring me and saying, or telling me, advising me to chart my symptoms with my period or chart my period or anything of that, I just remember noticing immense amount of fatigue, and I mean immense. I thought it was because I was working again. And that's another thing. I lost several jobs because of being sick monthly with my period. I'm missing a few days of work a month. Just doesn't flow, or it doesn't flow for very long. I would try. I would get sent home sometimes. just blacking out and being dizzy from the pain. My periods just became worse the older I got. But it got really bad towards the end. Around 2009, 2010 is when I started to notice the blacking out and the clots getting larger and larger. Just losing an immense, just not normal amount of blood. Anyways, rambling again. Trying to remember where I was going with this. I get a back pain. And so I was feeling that and the fatigue. And so I started to notice, and I didn't chart it, and maybe I should have, but I noticed fatigue immense to where I would sleep, 12 hours on the weekend and wake up exhausted. And, I would come home from work and all my friends, this started in 2009, but it got worse when I was 27, which was 2011, 2012, 2011, 2012. But anyways, I started noticing that friends were, they had social lives, they were going out to dinner. That's stuff I used to do, go out to dinner after work or at least go out for a drink or this or that or appetizers or meet a friend for coffee. And it got to the point to where I just couldn't do that. I could barely make it to 5 p.m. And I just knew something was wrong. Your body, something's wrong. Just having this immense tiredness for no real reason. I had an office job. I had actually gotten an office job. I was a nanny for a while and then got an office job that I loved and I miss it. It's the one I was talking about. But I just realized that doing things like dinners and stuff like that were becoming really hard and challenging, and I didn't understand why. But anyways, I started noticing without even charting it or being told to chart it or anything, and I wish the doctor had so told me to and so had told me to sooner, because maybe I could have connected the dots, but it is what it is. But I noticed that a week before my period, I would get just this immense amount of fatigue, and it was usually exactly a week. Just tiredness, just extreme tiredness. No amount of caffeine. I'm a huge Diet Coke and coffee fan, and no amount of that would help. And then I noticed, of course, my period was always hell, and so extreme fatigue with my period. And then I started to notice a week after, post-period, after my period stopped, I would just be exhausted. I would just feel run down and just so tired. And that left me, I noticed, with about a week out of the month feeling normal. So it got to the point to where I was doing all my errands on that one weekend. So 1 week in a month, I started stocking up on toilet paper and stuff like that, toiletries, and because I wasn't sure when I was going to feel good again, and it was that bad. And I don't mean to sound dramatic or like a hypochondriac, but it was so bad to where the pain and the tiredness combined, just kind of, I would black out and I would vomit, and it was very bad. And so I knew something was wrong. So fast forward, I guess, a couple months of dealing with this. Well, actually a couple of years, but it, of course, got worse with time. So when I started to notice it around 2009, 2010. I started to actually mentally chart it around 2011, 2012, when I had the job that I loved, the office job, because I had several jobs from 2009 to 2011. Honestly, it's hard to admit that because it makes you feel not reliable, not stable, not responsible, but it is what it is. You can't miss work a day or 2 days a month and get away with it, with or without a doctor's excuse or an actual medical reason. Especially, your period. It's just, people think cramps and they have no idea. They have no idea. I had cramps when I started my period at 12, but nothing like it was towards the end. I could still have a life, I would swim. I had a pool in my backyard. I would deal with it. I had pool parties, on my period. I was fine. It didn't interfere with my life. It didn't. I've had a lot of people speculate and kind of tell me I use it as an excuse because I don't have work ethic and stuff like that, and that really bothers me. It really does bother me. I still get that attitude, and I get it from some family, which really hurts. That's been one of the hardest things about this disease, is it seeps into every aspect of your life. It really does. There's no stopping it. There's nothing it won't touch. There's nothing it won't affect. there's nothing that it doesn't take from. It's taken a lot. I try to stay positive, but I also have to be realistic and kind of acknowledge just how much it has taken. I think it's part of the therapy. I'm not a pro, but I like to think that I'm trying to do this right, and I'm trying to heal and recover and do it the right way, and not come out being angry or bitter. And in the storm is what I like to call it, because that's exactly what it was. In the middle of the storm and all my surgeries and all my complications, I felt very, sorry, I got confused and ADD distracted with this music, not confused. Hold on, let me turn this song. I don't like it, and so it's messing my thought process up. There we okay, there we go. I'm playing aimlessly. If anyone likes aimlessly, good stuff. Anyways, during the middle of everything, I was really angry. I would lash out on people. I would just start screaming at them, family members. You don't understand. No one understands. And I was angry. I was hurt. I was confused. I was lost. I was scared. I think fear kind of promotes anger, and it was a lot of deferred anger. And I'm still trying to mend those relationships, and that will take time improving. But they also say that's part of the grieving process, the grief process. I think it's the first step is anger, and then acceptance, whatever. I've read a billion articles, because I try to do everything the right way. But definitely don't want to come out of this the angry, bitter person. And for so long I was. I wasn't ever angry at God. I questioned, you're going to question, why, or what did I do, or I must have done something, you beat yourself up. I don't know. This is going off on tangents, but anyways, I'm just trying not to be angry about it. So anyways, okay, so I had the backaches and everything, and it started, of course, to get worse. So February 26th, 2011, I had the backache. Was horrible, just horrible. So I was at work, and my boss was like, "You look terrible, go to the doctor." So I called my primary care physician, and he worked me in. I went and did the whole UTI thing, and there was blood in my urine, antibiotic. Fast forward. Oh, wait, sorry, this was a week before February 26th, because that was when the bottom fell out. So that was like a week before. Anyways, and then I went back to the doctor and said, okay, I've completed the antibiotic, so he gave me another one. I completed that. I still had the back pain. So then he started to think maybe it was a kidney infection. So he treated me for a kidney infection, and he said if this continues, we'll do a CT scan, because I had mentioned to him in the doctor's office that my family has a history of kidney stones, and I heard that causes immense backache and back pain, and it was very immense. I mean, it was awful. I couldn't get comfortable. No spot was comfortable. I was up all night. I couldn't sleep. It was bad. I've had backache before, but this was unbelievable. So fast forward again to February 26th, and it was a Friday, and was it a Friday? Yeah, I called my doctor, and he said, okay, well, we'll do a CT scan to see what's going on. He still thought that it was kidney stones. So this was Friday. Yeah, Friday, I called him. He said, Monday, we have you scheduled for a CT scan. So Saturday, I was alone in my apartment, and I was in so much pain, so much that nothing was helping. And I knew something was wrong. Like they say you know your body, and I really, really believe that after all of this. I mean, you know your body, and you know when something is wrong. And So it just got worse and worse. And honestly, I'll be honest, I like drank a couple beers and thought, well, maybe this will help the pain. Like I had taken ibuprofen, so I had like 2 or 3 beers. See if that would help. Like anything, it was that bad. And I called my mom around 12 a.m. or so, and she was like, "Don't, just rest. Try to rest. We'll just try to make it till Monday because you have a CT scan scheduled." So around 4 or 5 a.m. I called and I said, I can't do this. I said, something's wrong. I need to go to the ER. And, I've never been to the ER. So that tells you the amount of pain. Never been to the ER in 27 years. Never felt the need. Just not that person. So I said, something is seriously wrong. So she said, okay, I'll take you to the ER in the morning because this was 4 or 5. So around 9, I called again and said, I've got to go now. I can't wait any longer. So around 10 or 11, she after she had showered and gotten ready, she came in, she picked me up and went to the ER. We waited 5 hours. I kept thinking they're going to find something wrong with my back, that I probably strained my back. I was thinking things like that, kidney stones or that. So I got in and they did a CT scan, and they saw 2 large cysts. One on each ovary. One was almost 5 centimeters large, and the other one was almost 3 centimeters large. Little did I know, they were hiding another cyst behind one of them on my left ovary, a dermoid cyst, actually, that was 3 centimeters around. I think. I get everything kind of confused, and all the numbers and the tests and the complications and the surgery, so I'm trying my best to be accurate. But they saw 2 visible large cysts, gave me morphine, saline, whatever. Said follow up with your OBGYN tomorrow, or Monday, because it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday now because it's Saturday night now. So it was Sunday. So I didn't need to do my CT scan, so I called my primary care physician and canceled that because I had one in the ER, and made an appointment with my OBGYN. She was out of town, so her assistant, or I think it was a fellow or I think it was maybe her partner. Anyways, amazing Dr. William Hudson. He agreed to see me actually Monday. They fit me in, and I had, the CT scan results sent from St. Vincent's is where I went, the best hospital in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. If you live here, go there. They sent my results to him. He did a transvaginal ultrasound, which I would come to learn are very painful, and I lost count around 8 or 9. But those in and of itself are a whole vlog because they are very emotional when you have endometriosis and want children, and always pictured your first ultrasound being, with your husband and looking at a screen full of life and promises and not issues that you will learn a couple days later will take all that away from you, and you will never have that moment. So yeah, that's another vlog. Those are very hard. But my very first one was with him, and he was great. And he noticed that they had like a snowy appearance, which apparently in the ultrasound shows that they're endometriomas, which is endometriosis. Basically, it's basically an endometriosis cyst. It's a cyst filled with what they call chocolate blood, chocolate fluid, chocolate blood, whatever. It's basically old blood, brown blood. I know it's gross. I'm descriptive. I just feel like the more people know, the more raw it is. I don't know. Anyways, rambling. They were filled with chocolate blood, old blood. Both of them. And I don't think he saw the dermoid on the ultrasound. I can't remember. But they scheduled me for surgery for the very next day. Because that was... Yeah, I might have my dates wrong. Sorry. I think it was February 29th when I went to the ER, not 26. I think 26 is when the pain started really bad. Anyways. So we scheduled surgery, and he was going to assist, and my OBGYN, who I had seen for over 15 years, was going to be the primary surgeon. So we waited. She was going to be back in town. We did it the next day. So he told me at the visit during the ultrasound that when a woman has endometriomas, they are going to have endometriosis most likely. And that was when I learned I was going to have surgery, and there was no other way to treat this than surgery. So that was hard, very, very hard. I remember being so scared. I only had one surgery and I was 5. I had tubes put in my ears, so I don't really remember it, and so that was very scary. My mom was with me, and I just remember being very, very scared. Just thinking about surgery and everything, and hearing that I could have something that I had no idea what it was. I didn't know how to pronounce it. I didn't know what he was talking about. It was like he was speaking a different language. Anyways, I was still in a lot of pain, so he gave me some pain meds, and we scheduled surgery. The next day I had surgery. My mother took me. It was very early. We had to be there at like 3 a.m. It was outpatient. It was at St. Vincent's, and it was very hard. It was very, very scary. I remember like sitting in the pre-op area, and it was a huge pre-op area where it was a room full of like 20 patients, and they were all in there for different things. So some were screaming, and it was just horrific. You know, you can't wear, as you know, if you've had surgery, you can't wear contacts. And you can wear your glasses to the hospital, but you have to take them off, and so I couldn't see anything. And so it was even scarier. I heard all these screams, and everything was so blurry, and it made it that much scarier. And I just remember, I guess I looked really petrified, because I was. And I remember a nurse coming over. He was an older male nurse, and he came over, and I guess he could just see the fear in my eye, and he just patted my leg, and he said, "It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay." The nurse anesthetist came over and started the medication. I was rolled back to the OR, the freezing cold OR, the whole shebang. Told, you're going to take a nap, da-da-da-da. It's hard remembering and reflecting and looking back on my first surgery, because that was over 2 years ago, which is crazy. They did the surgery, and they drained the cyst, I learned. I was told that they completely got rid of them. This is not anything to do with Dr. William Hudson. He just assisted. He is amazing, and I'm not even going to name the other doctor. But she basically told my parents when I was in recovery that my pelvic area was clean. I was fine, but I did have endometriosis just because of the endometriomas. But she told them that she took care of the cyst and everything, and she didn't even mention the dermoid cyst that I would later find out in her office post-op. Not at my post-op. It was like 2 weeks post-op after she injected me with Lupron, which is a whole nother vlog. But I'm just trying to give just kind of accumulation of everything, just kind of, I can't think of the word. I don't know, just an overall whatever, and then I'll go into details maybe in later vlogs, but people just keep asking me my story, and I figured this is the best way to do it. Anyways, I feel like I'm just very long-winded, but my story is very long-winded. Gosh, you don't realize it until you sit down and talk about it. So while I was in recovery, she set the stage for my parents, for me to have to basically fight for every surgery, because she told them I was fine, I would be fine. So fast forward, post-op was actually 3 days post-surgery was my post-op, and I go, and she tells you what they did, and she told me she took care of the endometriomas, blah, 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 blah. And she said, you want to have children, don't you? And I said, yes, yes, I want to have 4 or 6. It's my life dream. Yes, yes, yes. She said, well, if you want to have children, and since you have endometriomas, just based on the fact that you had 2 large endometriomas. I don't know if I said endometrioma. I had endometriosis. I don't know if I just said endometriosis. I don't know if I interswitched. Anyway, she said, you have endometriosis based on the fact just because you had 2 endometriomas puts you in the category of being diagnosed. So she said, if you want to have children, the only way for that to happen is for you to have a Lupron injection, which is a hormone injection. It's actually hormone suppression injection. It actually puts your body into menopause. So it actually stops your body from making estrogen, which is what feeds endometriosis. It basically is endometriosis' food source. Maybe I should take a sip of water. They say that you should pause these videos and edit, but I'm not going to do that because that's just me. Raw. Real. This is water, by the way. Plus, I don't have time to search for a job and sit here and edit videos. I need to find a job. If anyone knows of a desk job, I start pelvic PT in May. Okay, ADD. Okay, so then she told me Lupron, and so she didn't give me a pamphlet. She didn't give me information. Nothing. She just said, if you want to have children, you need to have this shot. She didn't tell me about side effects. She mentioned a few. She said hot flashes and she just mentioned hot flashes. She said you'll have hot flashes and you'll basically be in a state of menopause. And I said, inject me now. I said, I want children and I want them bad. And I look back now and wish I had said, give me a pamphlet, give me some time. But, back then, and still, I didn't want anything to get in the way of the chance of me having children. And so this is kind of why I harbor a lot of hard feelings towards her. I feel it was very, very wrong to do something like that without really informing a patient or even giving them time to think about it. And I was 3 days post-op. I was right out the OR. So I wasn't thinking clearly. I was still on pain meds. Just not a way to treat a patient. But anyways, it is what it is. Thank goodness she gave me the option of, there is an option of a 1-month injection, a 3-month injection, and a 6-month injection. I think there's also an injection that lasts a year. I'm not sure. But I opted for the 1-month injection. Thank goodness on my soul and heart, because it was awful. And I don't want to steer anyone away from it because I've heard it can give women immense relief. I think every woman's body is different. Everyone's body reacts to things different. Everyone knows that. Everyone's body reacts to drugs differently. All of our bodies are made up of different, different amounts of things and different amounts of chemicals and, hence depression and anxiety. Some people just are chemically imbalanced. It is what it is. So, tangent. Anyway, she called her nurse in and brought me to a room and bent over and she stabbed me. The needle is huge. If you've ever heard about Lupron, it's just a massive needle. And that was kind of intimidating, but after having surgery 3 days earlier, I was just like, just do it. It hurt. She injected me with it in my hip, and I was sent on my way. And that was that. Fast forward a week or two later, I had vomiting, night sweats that I would just be covered in sweat. They talk about an add-back therapy, which I wasn't offered. I wish I had been, because maybe it would have been better. I'd have to wash my sheets every other day. It was awful. I still had the backache, if not worse. I just thought, how can I be in more pain now than before this? I was told everything was fine, everything was taken care of. You're on your way to go meet your man, basically, and have children, is basically how she put it. So I called her office and said, I'm still having really bad pain. I'm still having really bad backache, which is concerning me, considering you removed my endometriomas. And I was having, of course she mentioned the hot flashes, but I was having insomnia where it was horrific. I would be up for days on end, even with sleeping meds, even with Benadryl, melatonin. Anyways, I knew something was wrong. Again, you know your body. So a few phone calls from work. I remember stepping outside on my break, and I remember going to the bathroom and puking and calling her office and saying something is wrong. They would call me in medicine. I said, I don't want pain medicine. I have to work. I don't want to be dependent on them. And so finally I demanded to come in and see her. And I said something is wrong. And one night I remember before I called and demanded it could have been I can't think of words. Not a consequence. Coincidence. But my eye had a blood vessel that burst, and my whole eye was red like a rare steak, and it just really scared me because I was having all these symptoms. And another thing with Lupron is I had horrible flu-like symptoms. I felt like I had the flu. I would vomit and sweat and then have chills, and then the only way I know to explain it is every muscle, joint, whatever, ached. Everything ached like the flu. I mean, just throbbed. And I thought, something is wrong. Because this went on for weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks before I got an appointment. So I remember giving it time and being told, give it time. And I just am really upset too, because I would call my parents and say something's wrong, and they would say, no, when you were in recovery, she told us everything's fine, everything was taken care of, give it time. And so not upset with them, upset with the doctor for kind of setting the stage that maybe this was all in my head. And you're kind of treated like that anyway with endo. You're kind of told, it's cramps, you can deal with it, take Midol or Advil, it's in your head, or you're a hypochondriac. It's not like that at all. It's pain that you can't escape is how I describe it. Pain that demands to be felt. But anyways, I'm rambling. But the flu-like symptoms really scared me. But another thing with Lupron, before I talk about my visit with her, is that it's bad for your bones. Let me change the song again. Listen to this one. You can probably hear the train. I have a train close to my apartment. I love it. It's loud. But what was I saying? Oh, Lupron. Goodness, when I think about Lupron, it just makes me upset. To this day, I still take extra calcium. I take a multivitamin. That's another thing I'll talk about is the supplements that I take and still do to this day, even though I think all the endometriosis I know it has been excised from my body. Thank goodness I have a specialist. But I take supplements, and I actually started taking supplements before I was even diagnosed. It's just, I think, a good thing to do. But I take calcium and extra calcium because Lupron, it actually, if you don't take calcium with it, it can cause osteoporosis, which is probably explains why my muscles ached. I don't know. I'm not crazy. I know I sound crazy. But the muscle aches were like, it would hurt to walk. Like my feet would hurt to walk on them. And it just was the weirdest thing. It was very strange. It was very foreign. It was very scary. I was alone. I lived alone. I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. Just scary. So I made an appointment, got in. She laughed at me in my appointment. I told her that something's wrong. I know my body, and very bad bedside manner. Anyways, I told her about I had done research online, and that I had looked into going to see an excision specialist in Atlanta. It was called the Center for Endometriosis Care. I told her about Dr. Kinsinerva, who is my specialist, and I asked her for her opinion. I said, something's still wrong. I still have the backache, and it's worse, and something is wrong. And I know my body, and I feel like this is what I need to do. And she laughed at me. She advised against it. It was a hard appointment. It was very hard. I was alone. I remember I went alone, and it was hard to be treated like that. But again, it is what it is. So I went anyway. I called. They do a free records review. So you send over I sent over like all my documents, medical stuff, and then they send you info that you have to fill out, and kind of like a summary, your life with endo, your symptoms, that sort of thing. Dr. Kinsonovo called myself after I had reached out to them, and he said, I think it'd be in your best interest to I'll definitely come in. We definitely need to do this and look into it. Basically it sounded like I see this all the time, and I knew I was making the right decision. So this was, March, April. So we scheduled a surgery for May 8th, 2011. 2012. And that's the day before my birthday. I turned 28 in the hospital, right? Fun. So my surgery was May 8th, 2012. It was a 4.5-hour surgery where he removed my appendix. He found 2 large, surprise, endometriomas because they had filled right back up with blood. And they had just drained them. They didn't get rid of them or take care of them, so that explains the backache. But also I had severe endometriosis stage 4, and a lot of my backache was I had dense endometriosis on my back pelvic wall, especially on my left side, which is funny because that's where I feel the pain. But I had it on my right side. I just had it everywhere. I have pictures. It's horrific how a surgeon, not my specialist, but my diagnostic surgeon, my old OBGYN, can just open me up like that, see all that disease, and close me back up and say, so, I don't know how she sleeps at night. And she has 2 daughters, so it kind of sits bad with me. I don't think she would do that to them. I would hope not. Who knows? If you'll do it to a patient you've had for 15 years, I don't know. I can't be upset or angry about it. I just need to accept it happened. But anyways, he took my appendix. He excised the endometriomas. He didn't drain them. He cut them out, so they were gone. He discovered a dermoid cyst, which are lovely little things, and I don't even feel like going into describing them. You have Google. Only my body. He found one of those behind either my ovary or the cyst. It was on my left one. I always had really bad issues with my left ovary. But anyways, he excised the dermoid cyst, sent it to pathology, took it out. He excised endometriosis stage 4. He said it was everywhere, basically on every pelvic organ. My sigmoid colon was always immensely involved in all my surgeries. It was adhered with adhesions to my pelvic side wall. My left ovary, was adhered to the pelvic side wall with adhesions, and endo just kind of stuck. Yeah, so there's a scale that they use to stage endo, and it's out of 50 points, and I was 46 points out of 50. I think somewhere I had posted on some social media I was 146 out of 150. I had gotten it confused. That just happens, so I don't mean to be inaccurate or not line up. This video is really long. Or to come across as confusing. But I was really bad. 46 points out of 50. So anyway, he excised it, and I turned 28, and I recovered, and I went back to work. And I'm going to pause it real quick because I'm sleepy and I need to eat. I'm starving. It's 7:30 and I didn't realize I'm still doing this. So I will be back and I will talk about what happened after my second surgery. See you soon.